Okay, today we're going to be solving fractions. Specifically, we're going to be adding two fractions. So we've got 1/4 plus 2/3. In order to add a fraction, the first thing that you have to do is you have to find a common denominator. So remember, the top is the numerator and the bottom is the denominator. So when I say common denominator, it means that I need to find a number that both of these will go into equally, and we're going to be looking at their multiples. So for example, I'm going to think about the multiples of 4. So when we think about multiples, you're thinking about your counting, like 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. So these are called your multiples. And then we're going to think about the multiples of 3. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Okay? So we need to find a common denominator, and we always want to try to find what we call the least common denominator. So I'm going to look for something that goes into both that's common that shows up first. So if you see 12 shows up and 12 shows up for both. So we call that number the least common denominator. So we're going to use that number as our denominator. So to do that, we're going to put 12s here. And then we're going to multiply, because the next step is to rename the fractions so that they're equal, okay? And the way that we do that is we use multiplication. So as you can see, 4 times 1, 2, 3 gives you 12. So I'm going to times this by 3 and times that by 3. And now that becomes 3/12. These are called equivalent fractions. Next, same thing with the 3. So as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 3 times 4 gives me 12. What I do to the bottom, I always have to do to the top. So this becomes an 8. So now I've renamed these fractions as their equivalent fractions. Now I can go ahead and add these. And the only thing that we're going to be adding is the numerator. So the third step is to just add the numerators. We leave the denominators the same. So for example, I'm going to add 3 and 8, and that's 11. Denominator stays the same. And so the final step is you always want to think about, can I simplify this? So when you simplify, you're finding what's called a common factor. So remember that factors are numbers that when multiplied together will give you a product. So I'm trying to think about all the factors of 12. So factors of 12 would be things like 4 times 3. These are factors of 12. Another factor of 12 is 6 and 2. That's another factor of 12. Another factor could be 12 and 1. So we call these the factors of 12. And then I think about 11. Well, 11 only has one factor, which is 11 times 1. And we call that a prime number. So as you can see, I'm looking for something that's common, and all I see that's common between the two is 1. And 1 is not going to do me any good. So we would say then that 11/12 has no common factor in order to simplify. So then my answer would be 11/12.